Hi, I'm Sam Santiago, and I'm the host of the Passion and Purpose Summit. In preparation for this great gathering of hearts and minds, we had the opportunity to talk to Skye Dyer. Skye is a singer, songwriter, and the daughter of world-renowned self-help guru Wayne Dyer. In talking to Skye, we had the opportunity to learn a little bit more about the 5 ways that she finds and pursues her passion and purpose in life. We started the conversation by asking her about her unique name. Watch, and we hope you enjoy the interview.
Had an idea of names for all my brothers and sisters, and basically when she saw us, that was when she decided, and she just said that I seemed like a Skye, and she loved the letter S. She found it very soothing, and that's really all it was about my name. She just saw me and thought, I'm gonna name her Skye, and she put it on the end to be fancy. So
All right.
I mean, I love it. As a kid, I thought, why can't I just have a normal name? But now it's great, and I hear my name more now than when I was younger, so it's becoming more popular.
Nice. So, I don't think that Susan or Laura, they're all beautiful names,
I know.
but we're born to be named a certain way, and Skye definitely suits you.
Oh, well,
All
thank you
right.
very
All
much.
right. Good, very good. So, where are you today? Tell us a little bit about where you are and what's your environment today and what's going on with you.
I'm actually home for 2 days, which is nice, but I live
Okay.
in Delray Beach, Florida. It's about an hour north of Miami, and kind of stumbled upon this city after living in a lot of cities in South Florida and New York. And after coming back from New York, we wanted to find a place that still had, culture and great food and fun stuff to do, but also an arts area. And Delray really has that. People are really kind. It's very laid back. It's close to the beach, so you have a very laid back vibe. And
Okay.
I just feel happy. I could see myself staying here for a while.
Interesting. I don't know that a lot of people know about Del Rey. So,
Yeah, it's just gotten a little bit of recognition recently.
okay.
It's been, I think, like the best small town, which is a really cute title. But it's great. I'm actually happy if no one. It's still kind of. I'm sure as
Well,
all people find it.
and my guess is that you have a little bit to do with that recent ranking. So that's good.
Thank
I
you.
hope you're taking a little bit of credit, even if it's just a little bit.
I don't think I can. This city's pretty great.
All right. So you told me a little bit about the artistic vibe and being close to the water. And is that the kind of environment that inspires you, or what inspires you? It could be a snowy peak. It could be what is it? What kind of environment really moves you?
I really just nature in general. I try to be aware of anything that's going on around me and just take it in and not, I think a lot of people sometimes when you live near the beach, you do take it for granted. And it's really just to be aware of, look at this beauty. I mean, some people never see the ocean. And I really, really, never let that fact go unnoticed that I'm really lucky to see that. And just nature in general, I love being, I also live in New York. So there's something to be said of concrete. You can find beautiful, places in that also. But I like the quiet. I never thought I'd be someone that liked quiet because I actually seem to like when noise is around and, you feel
Okay.
very alive. But recently I've really started to enjoy the quiet and find, peace and just a lot of creativity in that. So it's been great living here.
Okay. So as I think about what you've shared with us so far, you've talked about the water, you've talked about nature, you've also talked about people. So is it more about that balance, that crowd and noise and people and that kind of vibrant energy it brings in, and then
Yeah.
trying to balance that out with nature and water and the
Yeah.
soothing nature of organic elements?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge thing. It is the balance. I mean, I think, like I said, when I lived in New York, I loved kind of the chaos, within it. But
Hmm.
at times, I would feel like, okay, I need a little bit of a break. Try to get to like the West Side Highway where you can see the water or feel a
Yes.
little bit. But there is something about feeling alive with people around you. I like that feeling. I like seeing people go about their day-to-day life. It really makes me feel creative and just kind of watching what goes on. But like you said, it's definitely a balance of finding the middle ground of both, of a little bit of excitement and a little bit of peace.
And do you think that that kind of environment typically generates the ability to think about passion and think about purpose? Is that even the only way to obtain that? What do you think about that?
Well, I've never really thought about that, but I think for me, it's kind of the balance is perfect for me to find my passion and purpose. But I don't know if it's about a place for people because I really think that comes from within you. So I think you can find that pretty much anywhere if it's something you're striving to find.
Okay, good, very good. Thank you. All right, so let's talk about rituals because I don't know that we talk about processes and we talk about flow charts and we talk about all these business terms for some things that we do that have nothing to do with business many times. It really has to do with how things flow. And in some cases, we call them habits too, and we call them, I don't know, we call them all kinds of different things. The Passion and Purpose team came up with the word ritual. And sometimes people stay away from that word because they feel that it's a little too religious. But let's use it today because our audience, our people, I think that it's important that we help share with them the importance of the business side and the professional side and the tangible material world, but that we also have an opportunity to share with them the spiritual side. I don't know that we want to get into religious labels or categories or denominations, but I think that there's something very spiritual about rituals.
Yeah.
And do you have any rituals in particular that help you start your day off, that really help you get inspired and beautiful smile on your face?
Okay. Yeah, that's just, I really, it's going to sound really cheesy and cliche, but I really wake up and try to say thank you. Kind of a small little meditation, but I like to really understand that, I do feel that this life has been a very lucky one for me. I got to be raised in a household where my parents, really let us believe what we wanted to and really be who we were, who we are as authentic selves. And every morning I really wake up and really just take a few moments to feel grateful. And that's kind of the thing. I'm a big believer in exercise. I like how it makes me feel. I think that's why I get the smile on my face. Anytime it could be an easy walk, it could be something strenuous, whatever it is, it's a little ritual for me. So that's how I like to wake up in the morning. Mm-hmm.
So you definitely would recommend developing some sort of habit that is focused on health, both physical and mental, and even emotional health.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's been a staple for me every day. It kind of just puts me in a good mindset. Like you said, every person has a different one. For me, I just like to always, be grateful for what I have, who I am, what I do, everything around me. And then also, if there are feelings of any negativity, just breathe with that for a moment and let it go. And that's that's what I like to start the day with. It makes for a smoother thing. It bumps in the day. It kind of makes me equipped for it.
All right. So you said you let it go. We're getting a little bit into your latest song, so that's good stuff. Yes, we'll talk about. We will talk about it. So we'll talk about it in a moment. Absolutely. Okay. So, but before we move on to that, let me just ask you. The reality is that as much as we'd like to think that the best way to get the day started is with some sort of habit that is focused on yourself and your health and your physical health and your mental health and your emotional health, there's no time.
Yeah.
So how do you get over that challenge?
I know. This is funny, but a friend of mine, Gabrielle Bernstein, she has a good quote that says, a lot of people say they don't have time to meditate, to take a moment for themselves, this or that. And her thing back to them is, do you have time to feel like shit? I really got that.
We do have time for that, yeah.
Yeah, and it made sense. We don't want to take the time. We feel like it's kind of selfish to take those moments for yourself. You have to do a million other things. You have to get this done, that, and that. But just to wake up 5 minutes early, just to feel more at peace, I do think it's important. I know it's different for everyone, and people will always find an excuse not to. Even myself. I mean, there are some mornings where I think, I just got to rush and go. But, it's just taking the time and realizing that it will help you throughout the day.
All right. Great advice so far. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to break it down into 5 particular ways, but you're weaving it into your conversation so beautifully. Thank you. You're absolutely fantastic. Okay, so let's start talking a little bit about your career. We all have in our careers, whatever we do in life, We have that one particular moment. I think that most people call it an aha moment, or that moment when you see the light, whatever we want to call it. What was
Yeah.
that moment for you when you knew what your purpose was?
Yeah. Well, for me, it was an easy one because I always knew I wanted to sing. I mean, as a child, I knew I wanted to sing. I spent my whole life singing. But then when I got to college, I just talked about this in an interview recently. And when I got there, they said to all of us, none of you will make it in the music business, and because it's a hard business to get into, and you can probably kiss your dreams goodbye right now. I remember thinking, oh, what a funny piece of advice.
Well, how reassuring.
Reassuring everything. But, for me, I kind of took it as, okay, either I can go into doubting myself at this moment and thinking that's true. But it was a wake-up call for me to think, people are going to tell me no and going to say over and over that this won't happen, this won't happen. But as long as you're doing what you love and pursuing it wholeheartedly and that's your authentic purpose, then I really, that was kind of the moment for me to realize I'm going to go full, through with this full force. And yes, it is at times, you think, oh, should I be doing this? But it's what I'm meant to do, and it always seems to work out. And I think that was the aha moment for me to just, to really put what I wanted, forward into my life and just make that happen.
Okay. So it's clear that you had a passion. You were a child when you realized what your purpose in life was. Do you think it's easy to find a purpose without a passion?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think that you can. I think that sometimes I do think that not everyone is as lucky to just, wake up and think, oh, this is what I'm passionate about and now I know what my purpose is, like you said. But I do think people can learn different things and then feel excited about something and really change their career path and kind of find something that is really exciting to them. Or people that have a passion about something and then find something else and think, I'm meant to do this and find a different. So I think they go hand in hand, but I think you can definitely change it from time to time.
Excellent. I really like your answer, Skye, because I think that sometimes we get stuck in the process of determining if I have this, then I can move on to that. And if I don't have this, then I can't really move on to that. Sometimes we get stuck again in the flow chart or in the habit or whatever that may be. And then beyond that, you also said that maybe you find, your passion along the way. You may even find other passions. Is that true? Has that been true in your particular case, you think?
I think it's very true. I mean, there have been times where, I've had a little doubt and thought, well, what if I can't sing? What if something happens? And I think that's the only thing I'm good at. And then I realized we're so capable of so many things.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's kind of just being open to letting all those things come into your life and really something really stirs you or, you want to try, I really think you should. And I definitely have had other things come into my life and I thought, well, I could try them and it's always good to learn something new. But for me, it's always ultimately still came back to the fact that I wanted to sing. But I think it's always great to try new things and be open to them.
So since we've talked about the fact that you have thought about what if you didn't have the ability to sing, what do you think are some of those things? Maybe, I don't know, one or two things you've thought about.
Sure,
well, if I didn't have a chance to do this, this is what I would do.
Yeah, well, one of them, and it's a very superficial thing, but something that I've been good at since I was a kid. I've always dressed people. I love fashion. It's been a second nature to me. As a kid, my mom said she could never dress me. I had to go in and, pick out exactly what I wore. It was very specific. And that is a passion. I hope one day, when I'm older and maybe a little more, settled in with kids and can't travel as much for singing, I'd really love to open up a store where women can come and kind of, you make them feel confident and help them with how they like to dress. And it's true. It's a superficial thing, but people do feel very confident when they feel, happy in what they're wearing and expressing themselves. So that's a little passion. I love that. It kind of goes in hand with entertaining also. Yeah. And thing is, I really feel passionate about volunteering. I don't know. I just think I get the most. It's another one of those cliche, cheesy answers, but I do feel I get the most out of my life when I'm helping someone else. So that's huge. I have friends that have opened up centers, all over the world, and just to see people do that, I really feel inspired by that and hope to do the same myself.
Absolutely. And volunteering has been a huge part of my life as well for well over 20 years. So I can appreciate the power of volunteering. And it's so good to hear that there are so many more individuals out there that no matter how busy they may be or how charmed of life they live, they're
Yeah,
not distancing themselves more and more from the realities and the needs of others.
of
They're
course.
actually are trying to get a little bit closer to
Yeah.
how to help
I mean,
out.
exactly. I volunteered and seen people that really have nothing themselves, and they're like you said, they're still giving of their time. It's really, it's amazing and it's very rewarding. I really,
All
really.
right. Beautiful, beautiful. And I must say that your passion for fashion, I don't think it's superficial at all. Oh,
Oh, thanks.
passion for fashion. There you
There
go.
we
I think
go.
that we just coined a term. I
But
love
should that maybe
it. We're creating something together. Okay,
exactly.
so I'll take credit for it, but
Of
maybe we'll
course.
trademark it together or something.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, passion for fashion. But more than anything else, what I was going to say is that some people really need to be clothed. I mean, not only is
Yeah.
this socially accepted norm to be clothed,
Yes.
some people need to have something on them.
Yes, of
So
course.
if it
That could be
looks
a good way.
beautiful, then even better.
Yes. And that could be a good way to maybe you can be with fashion and volunteering something for people with clothes. You never know how it goes.
Absolutely, and there have been a couple of efforts out there that have been connected to. It's a lot of
Yes,
fun
exactly.
because it really brings the creative part of it to with the social change part
Yeah.
of what we need to do in our community. So good stuff. We'll need to leave that for a follow up conversation.
Okay.
You got to leave a little bit for next time, right?
Exactly.
All right. So that aha moment, that moment, obviously you shared with us that passion you felt that when you were just a child.
Yes.
Um, when exactly did it start professionally? When you felt this is it, I'm doing it, and this is official,
Yeah.
and more than when, how did it feel? What was going through your mind when you realized, I've done it. Maybe
Yeah.
not necessarily I've made it. I
Yeah.
think that you're the journey type of person, but
Yeah, of
I've
course.
done it. I've gotten to that point where I feel very secure that I've attained the beginning of my journey.
Yeah, of course. I think it happened when I was in college. I would perform at local bars, do a million gigs, and I felt like I was really doing it. I was putting myself out there. No one knew who I was, and you're going in there and trying to perform for people. Some people pay attention, some people don't, and I felt really proud. I just knew this is where I was supposed to be, and it was really just a connection of okay, my whole life of wanting to sing. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, and it kind of grew from there. I then started traveling with my dad and performing at all of his lectures and other events, and it really just all clicked. And it's funny. I think when you're doing what you're supposed to do, everything aligns with that, and everything started to just happen. And I think that's kind of a key for all kinds of success in your own lives.
All right. So there's so much to talk about you, and there's so much to talk about your father, but you brought him up.
Yeah.
We're not going to go into a whole lot of detail there. I think that we would like to approach the conversation, though, from the perspective of what did it take to work with someone else? In this case, you were fortunate enough to work with
Yeah.
your father.
Yeah.
But what did it take to make that decision and say, I want to work with someone that could potentially help me get to where I want to be? And how does that feel?
I mean, it's a great feeling. I mean, it's you're making a decision about your life basically, and it's a very special one and a personal one. And I mean, I think for anyone in that position, it's an exciting feeling to have, and you feel really grateful that you realize what you want to do and who you want to do it with.
Excellent. And knowing that having that collaboration with your father, you knew that he wasn't going to steer you in the wrong direction. So
No,
obviously,
exactly.
that made the decision a lot easier.
Yeah, it was very lucky.
Would you recommend to our audience that they think about who that helping hand might be? Is that something that works? Is that something that seems like the right thing to do?
I mean, sure. I think it's a great thing to do. I think it's getting kind of yourself fully prepared and then opening that up to someone else that if you need just a little more help or guidance, just knowing that person is there, I think it's very comforting, but I think you always have to do the work yourself first. And then, you can go move on to having someone else kind of make that final step, or just words of wisdom, whatever it is.
Perfect. So while you will find that some people feel like you have to do things on your own, and you have to push forward, and you have to, if you, get going on your own, and if you can find some help along the way, fine. But doing things, so you don't owe it to anybody but yourself, may not always be the best way to go. Trying to get a little bit of help along the way is a good thing.
Yeah, actually, on a personal note, there's been criticism over the years of me saying, well, she, it's because she has her father's stage and this and that. But I always think it as, you have to take whatever comes your way. A lot of my friends got job opportunities because their parent knew a friend that worked at a company and they got an interview. And, it's kind of, if you're lucky enough to have that happen, why say no? It's like the universe is saying to you, here's a step to take. And if you say no to it, that's basically you're saying, no, I don't want to take anything that's going to help me get to where I need to be. So that's one thing I've learned, and I don't let that criticism ever bother me anymore.
That is an amazing point, and another really, really wise advice. You have to leverage those opportunities. If they're there and you're not taking advantage of them from the perspective of you're not going to give anything in return, or you're not going to live up to the expectations of how you have been recommended to do this, that, or the other, then, why not leverage that bridge?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I all the time.
Great point. Well done. Absolutely. Okay, so we're very close to getting to your music. What influences your music? We talked a little bit about the environment and the people and all that. Are there any other specific sources of influence and inspiration?
I mean, I love music. So it's more that I listen to everyone and everything. I love going to concerts. I love the way music makes me feel. And the biggest influence on me was that I realized I was connecting to artists that are solely themselves, really authentic. It was just whatever message they had, it was really coming across to me. And that was a huge influence on the fact that you can't lie. If you're really writing songs for someone else, not yourself, people will hear that. And I think I really did that before. I kind of just wanted to write what I thought was good for the time or for the project. And I think when you actually are really aware of writing for yourself first, that's the greatest influence I've ever had. And it's been a lucky one to finally figure out, finally.
That's a good point. And although it could be misconstrued as self-centric or egotistical or whatever that may be, when you realize that you have a good story to share, that you have lessons to share, that you have experiences to share through your music, then obviously that's the right perspective, and you have found it to be successful so far.
Of course, yes. And I think that's why the most artists that I loved are ones that are really true to themselves. They just really have a voice that resonates within me.
Can I get a few out of you without putting you on the spot? Some of your top favorites?
Oh, gosh. Everyone. I love, Stevie Nicks is one of my favorite voices ever.
Amazing. Yes.
I love a lot of old stuff. I mean, I love old jazz, Etta James, Nina Simone, Billie Holiday. I like new stuff. Michael Jackson was my all-time favorite. I wanted to basically be him when I was younger. As I love U2. The list goes on and on. I love Jimi Hendrix growing up. And I love pop music also. There's a lot of people I love. But I was really influenced in older music. I think that when they used to just play the instruments and it was live, recording. And I really, really love that era of music.
So you feel like, in a way, you're even having the unique opportunity to pay homage to those who came before you in the industry.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, it was awesome. Yeah, it was just about the music back then, so I like that.
All right, beautiful. So, okay, Letting Go. Tell us a little bit about Letting Go. What's going on with that? Where did that come from? And what's going to happen with it?
Okay, so this came about because I didn't think I was going to do anything else with Hay House Publishing. I mean, they've been so grateful. I mean, just so wonderful to me. I did 2 albums with them before, and they're not a music, publishing house. So it was a different opportunity. But I had an opportunity to do a last project, and I worked with the wonderful. His name is Alex Woodard. He's a Hay House author and also a musician. And I had the honor of him being the producer and us doing this album. And it was just an amazing experience. I'm kind of a type A personality sometimes. And when I was writing the songs and kind of thinking of the album, just, I can't think of its title. And all of a sudden I said to myself, Skye, just let it go. And then, of course, it clicked. And I thought, oh, this is the process, letting go. And so that's kind of how the album came about. I wrote the song and right after. And it's just where I'm at right now. It was kind of a transition of, from here, I'm writing more personal stuff, so it was kind of a good balance of personal and still kind of spiritual, positive message. But, I want to expand as any artist does and kind of, get a little more personal with my writing. So this was just a great project, and it's been exciting. It's on iTunes now and, on different web, Amazon and Hay House and a bunch of other places. And it's been, so far, pretty well received, so I'm happy about it, and I feel proud of it. So I guess that's the best thing that you can take away from something.
That's what matters, that you're comfortable and happy with the product. Good. So you mentioned something that is very interesting. You said, well, although Hay House Publishing, they really do something different. They really are not, music production company. We came and worked together. So you don't seem to be a fan of staying within your lane.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I just think that I am a person that I'm so spiritual and I love all this, but I think that like anything, you want to kind of give more of yourself. And, it's so wonderful. I feel like with my music, I've been able to touch people and kind of offer the little advice I know. I'm still growing and learning every day. But yeah, I really want to kind of expand on more topics and, just have a little more personal, touch to my songs.
Beautiful. And in terms of those pieces of advice that we're looking for our audience, I think it's an important lesson to learn, is that if you have an opportunity, even if it is an unorthodox opportunity, because you did something that was outside of the box, it doesn't mean that you don't look for opportunities within your lane, but really that you have an opportunity to be open. To find opportunities where they may be. Just like leveraging those connections is important, whatever they may be. The opportunities may not necessarily be in the same traditional places. Just be open about those opportunities when they do.
Yes, exactly.
And let it go, because it's going to be okay. All right. Okay, so we've talked about a whole bunch of different things. Great conversation so far. Ignite Your Passion, 5 Days, 5 Ways, is a theme of the summit, of the online summit that we're putting together. So if you were to think right off the bat, this is not rehearsed, this is not scripted. You have shared quite a few things with us so far today. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us? And would you be able to sum up? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but would you be able to sum up, those 5 ways of finding your passion and delivering on your purpose?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really just listening to that inner voice. I mean, really knowing, if you're going to a job every day that you hate, I mean, that's a sign in general that you're not living your passion or your purpose. It's really listening to yourself and kind of following that voice to take you where you need to go. I mean, I know I was lucky because I always wanted to sing. It was kind of put out there and I didn't really have to search much for it. But it's also kind of staying on that path and really following what you do. And just, being open to, like we spoke about, to change, trying new things and really figuring out what it is that's going to make you happy and live a life full of passion. And really, in the end, when you have passion, you do have a purpose. And that's kind of the best way for me to sum it up, just figuring out what you want to do and living, the authentic life to yourself.
I think you've given us way more than 5 ways. And all of those ways are amazing. Obviously, they'll work for you, and they're tidbits of wisdom for our audience. So we really appreciate it. So where can we find your music? Where do we go to learn about more on your craft and your talent and everything that you've done so far, and what you will continue to do, because we need to continue to follow you?
Yeah. Well, I'm new to the social media, but I now have all areas covered. But I do have a website. It's SkyeDyer.com. You can get my songs on iTunes. Amazon, HeyHouse.com. I believe that I'm on Spotify. I didn't even know I was on there, but I'm on there. And normally too, you can also, I'm on Facebook. I have a fan page there. I'm on Twitter. I just joined like 2 months ago. I was a little behind on the Twitter world.
Okay.
And Instagram. But yeah, you can always check me out and kind of follow what I'm doing. And I try to update my website as much as possible so people know what's going on. And yeah, so those are kind of the best ways to find me.
Excellent. Well, we know that we're going to hear more about you over the next few years and beyond. But more than anything else, thank you so much, Skye. We really appreciate it. I know that our audience will be really happy to learn about what you're doing if they didn't know you before. And now that they've had an opportunity, or that will have an opportunity to learn more about you, they will appreciate your advice on the 5 ways of igniting your passion and your purpose.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Skye. You have a very good afternoon from the bottom of our hearts at Passion and Purpose. Thank you so much for your time. I really, truly appreciate it. And we wish you lots of love, health, and good fortune.
You too. Thank you so much.
Have a very good afternoon.